This is partners in the process, 'cause we're built better together.
All right, we're here with Travis Griffin, Griffin Baseball. Trav,
How are you, man?
doing awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it.
Fired up.
Super fired up.
Talked about it for a long time. Now
I know.
we're here, right?
I know. It's been, well, God, this has been probably 2 years in the making, hasn't it been?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
But just between you and I and talking about where we want to go and what we want to do, and I know you've tried some other podcasts and some
Yep.
other things, and
Yep.
then the whole idea behind Griffin Baseball,
Yep.
and that's really what we're here for. Travis has been in baseball a very long time. Travis, when did you get started in baseball?
so when I was 3.
When you was 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I jokingly tell people all the time, like, it's taken me 39 years to get to where I'm at today. I mean that. Like, it's a lifelong adventure, right? But coaching-wise, I started with a baseball camp back in 2006. And then, it kind of turned into something I never really imagined. I didn't, if somebody would have said, write down on a piece of paper all the things that you're going to do in baseball, when I was doing that first baseball camp, none of this stuff would have been on there, And it's like, for me, like on the face side of it, and we've had this conversation, like I just, I believe that when you go do what God made you to do, like crazy things happen, you know? And I tell people all the time, like, I can't tell you exactly how to do everything, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way,
Right.
but
We all have.
but I can tell you when you go do what you're made to do, you're going to look up along the way and go, how did I get here?
So you liked playing baseball at
Loved it.
3,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
But how did you know that's what God made you to do?
I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, I loved it, right? And so whenever I got done playing, I always say, like, my story's a story of how not to do it, right?
Sure.
On
I go into that too. So
the
I understand.
player side of it, you know, like, I was talented. I was never like the best guy ever, to play the game. I worked hard. I loved it, and I think that showed whenever I went and played the game. But for me personally, baseball was always my out. It was my way to turn the world off and just go be me, right? And there were very few things that I had, that just allowed me to let loose, and
Sure.
just be myself. And so I always loved that about the game. And then, so through high school, I played sports and stuff, and I love the strategy side of the game.
Yeah.
And then, but on the school side, I wasn't really very good, right? And so, because for me, school was always boring. It didn't make any sense. Like, I didn't know why I'm in here spending, 7, 8 hours a day in a classroom learning stuff that I'm never going to use again.
Right.
And it's like, it was boring.
Your mind's elsewhere sometimes.
Yeah, all the
on
time.
Other things.
All
right.
the time.
Right.
And so it's like I felt like a caged animal.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would get out of school, I would go work, and I would get done with work at 11 o'clock at night. And, sometimes some parts of the year we would go and like work out and at that point in time at night, or
Sure.
we would go in the morning. So it's like, okay, where do I put time in for homework? Where do I put time in for studying? Like, I'm either working, making money, or I'm at school pretty much, right? And so my grades fell. And so when I would go talk to schools to go play baseball at the college level, I'd send my transcript, and I always jokingly say, like, there were crickets chirping in the background, but that was the truth,
Was out of high school, was your path, you felt like, through baseball into college? Like, you were
I was
going to
go play
What was
college
your position?
baseball.
What did you want
I was
to
a
play?
catcher.
You was a catcher.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. I'm one of those guys. Yeah.
He's one of the guys that kind of pulls the whole team together. Huh?
Yeah. Or
that's a coveted spot.
The dumb enough guy to be able to sit back there.
I'm not going to claim that I'm a guy that knows a lot about sports, because I don't. I know enough to be dangerous, because I'll watch it when we're in a World Series or something like that, especially baseball. But I've never been captivated by sports.
Yeah.
But it is interesting when I started to talk to you about it, about the logistics of the backside of how this all works, the politics that play into it, egos, and all that kind of stuff, but also the positions within a team, and how pivotal each one of those are.
Yeah.
It's not just every man for himself.
No, you got to have the right guy in the right spot every time, right? And like that's where, on the coaching side, that was something that I had to learn. Like, that wasn't a innate thing. You didn't just look at it and go like, oh, well, this guy plays third base because of his mentality.
And where did you make that shift? Where did you make that shift from playing to coach?
Well, somebody asked me to do a baseball camp. I can tell you exactly where I was. I was at my nephew's baseball game. watching, and me and a guy that used to coach me whenever I was younger growing up, we're talking about how they used to have baseball camps in Union. And, you know, I asked him, like, if anybody was planning on doing it. He was involved with a little league organization in our town. And he's like, no, nobody does it anymore. And then he looks at me like 20 seconds later, you see the light go off, like his eyes get big. He looks at me. He's like, dude, you should totally do a baseball camp in Union. I'm like, no, I'm good, man. Like, I'm working at the time, full-time job, just got married. Like, I had a lot of stuff going on. I thought I had a lot of stuff going on.
You know? How many years ago you figured this was?
I was in 2006, yeah.
2006, yep. Okay.
And so, so funny enough, a couple months later, I lose my job. And so I'm telling this guy that. He's like, oh, so now you've got time to do a baseball camp.
Oh, yeah, because we don't need to get another job. We're going to do a baseball camp, right?
Right, yeah, right. Yeah. So I did one, right? And we put all this work into it. Like I contacted the Cardinals, and I contacted a minor league baseball team local here. And one of my old baseball coaches that coached me whenever I was a kid growing up, and like got all these people to come out and get stuff donated. And I look back on it now and I laugh. It was like, I think it was $30 or $35 for 5 days of baseball camp.
Oh, wow.
Lunches were provided. You got a t-shirt. You got every kid. I made it a point to make sure like every kid walked away with some baseball stuff, right?
Sure.
And the night before camp started, we had 3 kids signed up.
Oh, wow.
And that's like, I've contacted a local restaurant. They're providing lunches every day. Like I had to give them a head count of what I thought would be there. So I just threw a number out there, like 30. You know, I was like, if we get 30 kids, that'd be a great turnout. So the morning of, we have 55 kids show up.
Oh, cool.
I'm totally understaffed.
Yeah. But in surprise,
totally
because
unprepared.
The night before, that's not who you had signed up.
I had 3, right? And so it's like, oh boy, like scramble the jets, like call the guy that's running the restaurant and be like, hey, we had 52 extra kids show up today. Right. I got to call the local
52 extra kids.
Yeah, the local high school coach and be like, hey, is there any way you can find me some people that can help? Because I don't have enough people. And, luckily, again, like that's the beauty of the community that we grew up in. Like everybody scrambles the jets and we all find a way to get it done. Yeah. And so about halfway through the week, he goes, Trav, have you ever thought about coaching? I was like, no, not really. He's like, dude, you should totally coach with me at the high school. And I was like, let me go home and talk to the boss about it. But, we'll see. So
at the high school, which high school?
Union High School.
Union High School.
Yep.
Okay.
So I go home and I talk to my wife about it. She's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I think you should totally do it. And for me, it was like when you lose something you love, you don't realize how much of a void that leaves in your life. And for me, I got that back when I got on the coaching side. Yeah. And it's like, I'm never going to lose this again.
So do you believe in that old adage, those who can't teach? Is that something that resonates with you?
Those who can't do teach? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like,
or is that insulting?
No, not at all.
No.
Like if you're I think to some people it probably would be. Sure. But to me it's not. Like, because I know the impact. For me, like I just want to be back around the game.
Well, and what I will add is what I found crazy in talking to you about all this is we think because we can't. Yeah. That we just go into teaching because it's easier, right? Yeah. Quite the contrary. Oh, it's harder to teach people to develop what God gave them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than it is to just have it. Yeah, because the guys that just have it,
you're doing you.
You're just doing you. So you don't always know why you're doing you or why you're good at what you are. That's just been life for you.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say your son's that way.
Oh, 100% he's that way. Yeah,
is great at baseball. Yeah. Now you would say, well, it's because his dad was. Who's this kid?
No, he's a different animal.
He's a different animal. He's built differently. His confidence, the way he swings a bat, the way he sees things, his calmness.
It bothers me.
He was. I mean, you've even made it hard on him at times, and it backfired in your face.
Dude, it blew up in
and
my
he
face,
conquered
100%,
it. You know?
Right.
So it's just a stud. I mean, and we will see more from this kid. This kid he'll be around for a long time.
Yeah, God willing. Yeah.
But what's crazy is for you to teach these guys to develop their own talents. Yeah. When you yourself you weren't some stud. You didn't have that, but you know how to pull it out of them better than they know how to even understand what God gave them.
Yeah, agreed. And that's the hardest part sometimes, right? And so go back and the journey to get there. Like once you get back something that you've lost that you loved, like you're never going to let anybody take it away from you again, right? Yeah. And And so like that's where I was at. You know, I can remember coming home from my first ever high school practice, right? And I walk in the door, so my wife and I were teaching PSR, which is public school religion, for those of you that don't know. So we're teaching PSR at Immaculate Conception Union, and it was the first time I couldn't make one, right? And so because I got this baseball practice I got to go to, right? And so I get home. Aaron and I, it was like the first time we'd ever really divided and conquered, you know? Like before that, we did everything together, right? So I get home. I was like, I'll see you on the other side, you know? Like, she's like, okay, let me know how it goes, right? Now it's like, ready for bed? Yeah, let's go. Like, you know, every day is just exhausting. But anyways,
it's a grind.
But so anyways, I get home and she sees it on my face. Like enough so that she makes the comment. She's like, well, there's a guy I haven't seen in a long time. And it's like, yeah. She's like, well, tell me about it. It's like, it's so cool. Like I worked with this kid on this and he picked it up and he did it. And it's like, this is going to be awesome.
It's like finding a purpose moment.
Right.
It's that moment
I knew I was at home, you know.
And you're like I thought I knew I loved this, but now I feel like I found my purpose.
Yeah. And there's been so many times along the way. Like, and again, backstory is like, okay, I started as a voluntary assistant at a little, you know, high school here in Missouri. And it just, in 3.5 years, I was training my first Major League Baseball player.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like
training.
It's crazy to me. And I did it, you know, and it's like, I mean, it's the journey. Like there's been so many times where I've looked up and been like, dude, what have you gotten yourself into? You know,
Did I get in too deep?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But it's always like, I look back and it's like, again, from a faith side of things, right? Like God knows me better than I know myself. Right. And he puts me in scenarios where it's like, you have just enough details to commit, but not enough details to get nervous about it.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like I get close to the event and it's like I start hearing more and more and more. Like here, my first speech I ever gave in my entire life. We've talked about this.
Yes.
I get a phone call from a guy and he's like, hey, we're you know, I got your name from Alan and he said you'd be really good to have speak at our event. He's like, would you be interested? It's like, sure, yeah, you know. Like, you know, give me a little bit more of a backstory.
Yeah.
And
let me know what this event's all about.
He's like, here's the dates, here's the time. But he doesn't really tell me much.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, cool. So as we go along, I find out I'm speaking to the International Baseball Coaches Association, which is like when you watch the World Baseball Classic, it's all those coaches that are on TV and like doing that stuff. And for me, again, I'm an assistant high school baseball coach. Right. Like,
right.
I'm not qualified for this in my mind, right?
Yeah. But if somebody thought you were.
But yeah, and if I would have, but if I would have known all the details right out of the gate, I probably would have said no.
Right.
So anyway, I'm supposed to speak on a Thursday, right? And so we're running this convention. And like there's 5,000 baseball coaches at this International Coaches Convention, right? Or it's called the BCA. It's the Baseball Coaches Association, right? So there's like probably 20 to 25 countries that are there, right?
Wow.
So like that Thursday, what I'm thinking I'm supposed to speak, I get told, oh no, it's on Friday. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Steve, this guy who's the head coach of the Netherlands at the time, who had just won the World Baseball Classic, comes up to me and he's like, oh, hey, by the way, you ready for your speech tonight? And it's like, no, it's tomorrow. He's like,
on Thursday.
It's like this, like at 3:00.
So you're psyched up. Then you were like, oof, I got another
I'm
day.
good. I got a day.
And then all of a sudden they dropped the bomb on you.
Yep. Call my wife. I'm like, hey, you know, we're good. It's not tonight. It's tomorrow night. I was wrong, you know. And she's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take the kids to the pool and like, you know, go swim. I was like, all right, cool. So then I find out at like 3 p.m. that's actually today, and then we're going at 5.
Yeah.
And it's got to call the wife, be like, hey, I was wrong. I was right. It is today. Like scramble the jets. I'm on my way to come over and pick you up. Right. Okay, cool. Well, about 5 minutes before the speech starts, the guy who invited me goes, oh, by the way, Tony's going to speak right before you. I'm like, Tony. Oh, okay, cool. Hold on. So I'm sitting there in the room and they start introducing Tony. And I'll never forget the guy saying, and in 2011 has come back to win the World Series, may go down in history as the greatest comeback of all time. And I look at my wife, I was like, holy shit, he's talking about Tony La Russa.
Yeah.
She's like, who? It's like, Tony La Russa, the manager for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah. Mind you, I've never given a speech before in my life.
And this is who you got to follow up.
And things escalated from like 0 to 100, you know?
Yeah.
And so and what was really cool for me was like, I get up and I like go back to the water cooler and I'm drinking water because now I'm like, I got super nervous. And I had like I had my note cards prepared, like I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was. And so I go up there and I start speaking, and it was good. It's fine, right? I remember like the first like 30 seconds of it,
Yeah.
and then like I spoke for probably 20 minutes, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then but at the very end I gave this analogy that I always gave to players, which was, and at that time I'd started teaching lessons and I was training kids one-on-one, doing
Yeah.
individual instruction. And my biggest thing was everybody would come in and tell me what they wanted, right? But they had no idea what it took to get there, right? And it's
Right,
like, okay,
right.
well, what does that look like? Right? Okay, you want to be Division I college baseball player. Great. What does that mean? Well, you have to be really good. Okay, well, what's that mean? Like what you want to be a Division I college third baseman, right? What does a Division I college third baseman do? Like what are his numbers like? What's his 60 time? What's his arm strength like? What's his slugging percentage? Like what do those things quantify it,
Right.
so you can get to where you're trying to get to,
Right.
And
so it's not just an idea, it's actual obtainable.
Instead of just saying like, and that again, we'll get into that, but like so I would always use this analogy, and I would say, okay, well, I want $1 million. I really want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's going to show up in my hand. I got some magic trick ready. On the count of 3, I'm going to make $1 million show up. And so I did this analogy, and it obviously $1 million doesn't show up, right? And I say, it doesn't have shit to do with what I want. What it has to do is there's a list of requirements that it takes in order for me to make that $1 million show up. And if on that list there's anything that I'm either not capable of doing or I'm not willing to do, I have a fork in the road.
Mm-hmm.
And where majority of people make a mistake is, at that fork in the road, you have 2 options. You either change what you want or you change what you're willing and capable to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
But where people go wrong is they make an excuse. They take option C. They say, oh, well, I didn't make it because of my coach. Look, every high-level player that I've ever worked with, in my experience, they don't care. None of them care. Mm-hmm. They're going to do whatever it takes to find, I got to climb this brick wall, go over that mountain, find a little gunny sack at the top of the mountain, bring it down to the bottom, swim across the river, then tote this across the Arctic. No problem.
That is a totally different mindset. Yeah, these guys who want this position, they want this spot, the idea of it to them, this fantasy is like, oh my God, that would be the best. And it's like, but what's it take to get there? Now, if I take you and I put you up against this guy who has done it, and I tell you his story, does that seem like, how far apart does that seem?
Yeah.
How far apart is it?
Yeah.
Can you do anything close to what that guy was? And most of them will say, I don't know how I can do that. That's the difference between you and him.
Because it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah. Right? He knew he could do it. And if he didn't, he still did it anyway. Just seeing what would happen.
Yep. And so I give that analogy. And afterwards, because again, I drank like a 5-gallon drum of water before I went up to speak. I go, immediately I get done. It's like one of those moments where everybody's like, oh, great job, And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I tank that. It was terrible, right? And I go straight to the bathroom. Yeah. And guess who's in the bathroom?
Oh, yeah, I can
it's
only
Tony.
Imagine. It's Tony.
Tony's in the bathroom.
Probably at the urinal right next to you.
Yeah, right. Literally, he's washing his hands, right? And I'm like scurrying in, trying not to piss my pants, right? So, and it's just one of those moments. This is a defining moment for me, where it's like I'll never forget it, right? And so, like I'm relieving myself, and he's like, "Hey, man, I love that $1 million analogy. You mind if I use that?"
Oh wow!
And my brilliance, right? I'm like, you're Tony La Russa. You could do whatever you want. Like, but he's
fangirled real quick there, didn't
immediately. Yeah, right.
In the bathroom.
Yes. And so what was cool is like he said something, again, coincidence, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked about this.
Yeah, coincidence. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. So he said something that hit me, and I've carried it with me the rest of my career. Is that, he'd been doing baseball. It's a guy I look up to, right? Like, this is a guy, like, I would love the opportunity to sit down and talk to and learn from. And he said, in all my time of doing it, I've never showed up to the ballpark and not learned something. Yeah. And it was like, whoa, wait, how do you not have it figured out? Like, if he doesn't have it figured out, I'm never going to figure it out.
I talked about that just the other day.
But I'm going to try.
Right.
And I'm gonna see how close I can get. Yeah. And it really totally changed my career. Mm-hmm. And so every chance then I got an opportunity to like talk to somebody that was above or on the same level or even below. Right. Every chance I got it to learn something, I would dive in like full send, all in. Right. Yeah. I missed my son's first baseball game because I got an opportunity to go talk to this guy named Brent Strom. right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Stroud.
Estrami, that's my
Estrami.
dude, right? Yeah. So, and it changed the whole, like that one Ruby Tuesdays dinner changed the whole outcome of my career. Like it just because of one thing that he said, right?
And will change the outcome of your son's career, regardless to if you miss that one event or not. It's going to affect him for the rest of his life as well.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember that I wasn't there.
Yeah, but to us, we're like, oh my God, I missed that, you know.
Yeah,
But these opportunities, like we talk about opportunity, you know, it comes and it goes. Whether we take advantage of that or not, that's up to us.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's where, like, I think where most people go, again, my journey's been like crazy, right? But like where most people go wrong is I think they're afraid to try.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of failing.
Yes.
And it's like for me, failure is to not try. Yeah. Like to never know.
There really isn't failure. There's learning. Yeah, and they're succeeding.
Right. Yeah, and then you learn in both.
And the only way to learn is usually to fail.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? We learn lessons from somebody else's failures, and we learn lessons from our own failures. But those learning, it either came from I succeeded and this is the way it worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But I can tell you something. If I did this and I screwed it up royally, that's how not to do it, because that's the quickest way. So we learn from that. Well, at least you should be learning from that. If you don't learn from that, then
you're probably
you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up for the end.
That's the hardest thing about coaching. Right? Yeah. Is like to see in someone something that they don't see in themselves, right? Sure. And to know that that's in there.
Got to be frustrating.
Oh, it's so hard, right?
Because you're trying to draw it out. You're like, it's right here. I'm beating around the bush every day, and you just don't see what I'm seeing.
But that was my drive. Like that probably pushed me harder than anything else to learn. Was like, I know this guy's got something. Mm-hmm. I know he's capable. I'm just not. I'm either not saying it the right way, or I'm not teaching something the right way, or I'm missing for him.
Yeah.
And so I need to go learn. I need to go learn as much as I possibly can, because one little line, like I could say something different, just a little bit different, right? Like I could say, keep your arm relaxed whenever you're throwing a pitch, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. Might not get it. I could say, keep your arm like a spaghetti noodle.
And that resonates
instantly
with you. Yeah, then they get it.
Or like your arm's like have you ever been in a snap towel fight? Your arm's like a snap towel, right? If I put two snap towels out by the side of the pool, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, Bob, you get first pick yours, right? One of these snap towels is frozen. One of these snap towels it's kind of damp. It's warm. It's been laying out on the pool deck for a long time. All right. Which one are you going to pick?
I'm getting the warm damp towel.
Why?
Because that one's going to snap.
That's right. The frozen one's not going to, but immediately you put A and B together.
Right.
Okay, so why are you using a frozen towel when you're throwing a baseball? Why is your arm stiff as a board? Why are you all locked up trying to throw it hard? That's not fast. It's not quick.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they're trying to throw power.
But it feels hard. Yeah, right. It's the
idea
of
they
got
to be like throw muscle into it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it goes back to like, okay, it's trying hard good. Okay, let's talk about that. Right?
But it might not be efficient. And efficiency is what you're looking for.
Well, let's talk about the underlying idea behind trying hard. What is it? We measure. Hard's a measurement of three things, right? Okay, this table, it's what?
Hard.
Why?
Well, I can get into the science of why this table's hard.
It's a solid,
yeah,
right?
It's a solid,
solid, right? Okay, water, it's not a solid, it's a liquid. Yeah. Is it hard?
Made of the same molecules as this table is.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's a measurement of substance, right? Okay, now, climbing Mount Everest, it's what?
Oh, it's difficult.
It's difficult.
Yes.
Some would say it's hard.
Some would say it's hard.
Right?
Yes.
So hard's a measurement of difficulty. Okay. All right, what's the last one? He's trying really hard. Okay, why?
Trying's a measurement in itself.
It's an idea of effort.
Yeah, it's an idea. Yeah.
Right? So if LeBron James walks into here, calls me, he's like, Trav, outside right now, 1st to 10. Okay, who's trying harder, me or LeBron James?
You.
Why?
Because he's got it.
I'm not as good as LeBron James.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. The underlying idea behind the idea of effort is inability. I'm not good enough, therefore I need to try harder. Mm-hmm. And that one idea gets in the way of more athletes, more people, I think.
Oh, it gets them because that also translates into work harder. Mm-hmm. You know, people do the same thing. Well, I'm not making enough money, or I'm not doing well enough in life, so I need to work harder. And you do need to work harder.
That's true.
But your definition of work harder and my definition of work harder are not the same thing. When I say work harder, harder doesn't mean physically. It means dig more holes or dig more a deeper hole or more hours. It doesn't mean, it just means you got to work harder at a path out of the direction that you're currently in. That's right.
If what you're doing is not working, you got to change some stuff.
And that's gonna commit more time. That's gonna mean more research, more studying, more whatever it takes. Learning skills. Go find more skills. That's hard in itself as well. It doesn't mean physically keep beating what you're doing harder.
Yeah, 100%.
It just means work harder.
Yeah, and that's where okay, so going back to that idea gets in the way of more people than I think anything else, right? Mm-hmm. Because okay, the adage practice makes perfect.
Not true.
It's so false. It's not even funny, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Why? Because if I already have bad habits, right? And I'm not meaning like you're addicted to things and you make bad decisions in your life. I mean like little stuff, right? If I work at that harder, I'm just getting better at doing it worse, right? I'm developing a habit that's gonna be harder to break. That's an inefficient habit that's getting in my way, right?
Right.
And so that's not true, right? So the idea of trying harder, I think is I would, if we could burn that idea, I would love to.
Well, and the idea behind practice makes perfect. Practice makes you better. Yeah. But you never can be perfect. That's right. There's always room for improvement. That's right. And if you're not trying to strive to improve, then you're dying a little bit.
And if it's not getting you to here's where I think most coaches go wrong. And I'm not saying I do it right, but I do think that people make this mistake unknowingly, right? Is that idea that if we practice, we will perform, right?
We will perform if we practice.
Okay. You're going to perform how you practice, right? So we can practice 5 days a week, but if my practice plan is a shit practice plan, we're going to have shit output, right?
Correct. It's the same difference.
And so it's my philosophy on that side of it has always been if practice isn't making me better out there on the field, then I need to change my practice plan, right?
Right.
So what makes things hard? What puts pressure on you in life and in baseball is speed, right? When as a business owner, right? When you have Monday mornings, everybody talks about Monday mornings, right?
Yes. Okay. Talk about Monday mornings.
All right. Well, 100 things come through on your email on Monday morning, right? Why? Because everybody's banked everything from Friday. Over the weekend, they're thinking about stuff, right? They put notes down. All of a sudden, boom, Monday morning comes. I got to get this out.
Yep.
So you get 100 emails on Monday morning. Okay, cool. Right? So how do I slow that down?
Right. How do you slow that down?
Period. Anyone, right? How do I slow? Because Monday morning's game time in the real world. Right?
But for business owners, there is 7 days a week and 365 days a year, and there's 24 hours in a day. But for the people who we're working with, there's Monday through Friday, and if we don't work Saturday, they're not thinking about it. They know it was there Friday, but the reason it falls in my lap on Monday morning and everything goes to shit is because they didn't do their job on Friday because they were too busy trying to get off. I was working through the week,
that's right,
unknowingly. Of the knowledge that they had on Friday of what was jacked up that I'm going to know about first thing Monday morning. So my Monday morning gets caught on fire because they didn't do their job on Friday.
Exactly right.
So you and I can fix our problem, but I can't, no matter how hard I beat it into those people that I need to know on Friday so I can have that fixed for you on Monday. So Monday's not a shit show. They do it every time.
I fix 0% of the problems that I don't know about.
Correct. I miss 100% of the shots I don't take, right?
Yep.
So I miss 100% of the things to fix that I don't know were a problem to begin with.
Yep. And so that goes back to like the player development side of it, right? Like you want it, great. What price are you willing to pay to get it?
Yeah.
Right. And so what's super cool for me on the journey along the way is like you develop these relationships with people that, like guys that play for me, like I carry a place in my heart, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to ask you to change who you are, we have to have trust.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a necessary part of the component.
Yeah.
Is that easy? No. It's brutally difficult, in fact, at times, right? Like I've held guys in my arms as they cried, like grown men, right? Lots of times. Is that fun? No. Am I glad they came to me? Yep, I am. Wedding, my wife always jokingly says like, we need another wedding to go to, right? Because, like I love that stuff, right? You develop a relationship with somebody to the point where like, they're like, hey, I want you to have my wedding. Yeah. Right. And, like that's that side of it that purpose side of it, where like you're helping a young man become a man, and like that you can never put a dollar amount on that, right?
Right.
So,
well, let's jump up a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that after some of that coaching career in high school or whatever, you get an opportunity to go coach at Marville University, correct?
Yep.
How many years did you spend at
I
Marville?
was 2 years there.
2 years there. You
Yep.
developed some programs there, didn't you?
Yeah, we did an advanced data analytics program there.
Mhm.
Yep, it was a pretty cool process. Yep.
And what are some of the people that you got the opportunity to meet and coach and stuff like that at Maryville?
Yeah, so a lot of the players that like all the college guys that were there, but what was really cool was bringing in like the relationships that I developed over the years to help develop that program out to where like now they've got a data analytics program, which not a lot of places have, right?
Right.
We brought in, like the Cardinals front office, like their director of data analytics, right?
Now this is the science behind how baseball works. So everybody sees these guys go out there and we talk about practice and we talk about, developing a better program and how, but when we start to talk about the wet noodle and the frozen, this is the data. This is behind how we measure all that stuff to know if it's right, if it's wrong, how to tweak it, how to fix it. Because you've told me before, I can tweak an ankle or a rotation of a
femur, right?
Yes, and I can get a couple mile an hour out of somebody's pitch because of translation.
Sometimes way
for
more.
the analytics. Yeah.
I mean, I've watched guys that like we work on like early femoral rotation or not necessarily early, but degrees of rotation and speed of rotation, where we've picked up 8 miles an hour.
8 miles an hour. And what amount of time?
7 months.
7 months. So in less than a year.
Which is that's a delicate. Like I say that, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh,
we're
this guy
talking
can
consistently though, right?
Yeah. Like that's a delicate thing you have to like. That's a really because there's a lot that goes into that, right? Like,
but now, what's that mean for somebody who's throwing 88 between
it
minor leagues and
their
Major League
life,
Baseball?
right? It changed their life, which is the best part, right?
Right.
And so like like one of the individuals that we're talking about right now, like super awesome guy, like super awesome, right? All he ever wanted was like to be somebody, right? And what's again, it goes back to like you see something in somebody that they don't necessarily understand yet, right? And it's like if we can just make this one change, like I know if we can just make this one change, things are
like I see everything else lined up. Just tweak this one thing, and I've seen it before, so I know what it'll do.
Yeah, now it's a hard change.
Yeah,
it's because it's a who you are thing.
Yes,
right? Yeah. And so, but we've got to change that, right? And so, what's super cool is when you have a guy like that who has hope, right? And you convert that hope over to belief, right? Like people ask me all the time, like, okay, what'd you do? We converted hope to belief, right? Once you get a 5 mile an hour increase in a week, I don't have to tell that guy.
No,
like be at the gym at 6 a.m.
You proved it.
Eat better. Like understand this.
Goes back to trust again.
How do you use velocity, right? Like I don't have to tell you that stuff anymore. You start coming to me and going, hey, I was looking at this. What do you think about that?
Right.
And it's like that's like one of the coolest things to see play out in real time.
Sure. Is
someone convert hope into belief. Right. Now the beauty and the curse of baseball is it's a brutal game. Right. So there's ebbs and flows of you'll have that belief when you catch a hot streak. And then all of a sudden the struggle bus comes and you're struggling and it's like you lose the belief and you hope it comes back. And then all of a sudden you it could be one thing, like you get a hit in the gap. Okay, cool. Like now the belief's back. Like I can do this again. Right?
But you've told me too that people practice sometimes the wrong thing and have some luck with it.
Yeah, right.
And because they thought they had that luck with it, that's why they should.
It doesn't translate.
No. So when they start to see that is a problem for them and it's not working anymore,
it's too late.
They're like, well, I did it before. Why can't I do it again? You're like, because you were already doing it wrong. You just got lucky. Yeah. And so the analytics behind this, they've going back to your data analytics, is that if you do it this way every single time with your structure, your height, your length of arm, whatever, I mean, all the measurements that go into this is going to be the result. Yeah. And then I can show you, and then you do it. And then it happens again, and then it happens again. Like the proof is right here.
Yeah. And that goes back to like the only rule that really truly applies in the game is be on time, right? If you're throwing a pitch, you got to throw it on time. If you're swinging the bat, got to swing it on time, right? Like when do I need to start my swing? When do I need to get the barrel there, right? What pitch is he throwing, right? And so like it goes back to like in the science when we look at it, like your physical limitations are 8 miles an hour. Like that's the best of the best in the world.
To increase an 8 mile an hour?
Can cover an 8 mile an hour window, right?
Okay.
So if I'm sitting on a 99 mile an hour fastball, I can adjust from 99 down to 91. That's the best I can do. Anything below that, I can't adjust down to.
Mm-hmm.
You've reached the physical limitations of your window, right?
Gotcha.
All right. So now what happens when a guy throws an 83-mile-an-hour curveball? You take it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a strike, right? You take it. Why? Because physically you can't cover that gap from 99 down to 83, right? And so what you're watching, when you're watching a baseball game, like again, this goes into like, when I go to baseball games, like I can't just watch a baseball
just be
game,
a spectator,
right? Like
right.
Because my brain turns on and it's like, whoa, why was that guy so far out on his front side whenever he's swinging that? Okay, because he's sitting on a 99-mile fastball.
You should just see how you can fix all these different things you see within the game instead of enjoying just the game.
Yeah, like it's super hard for me on that side of it, but in a good way, right? Like so, but it goes back to like when you simplify the complicated, like that's something I think that is super hard to do. Is take something super complicated, like all the data, like all the rabbit holes that I've dug into along the way, and say it to you in a way that's super simple. Like, do this, and then you do that, and all of a sudden we get this huge change, and people are like, "How'd you do that?" And the guy, they'll go to the player and be like, "How'd you do that?" And the player will be like, "I don't know. I just turned my femur." And the people are like, "What?"
I rotated my femur.
I just turned my femur. Okay.
So like in all of this too, for me, you take something that people just naturally love. I mean, I think of baseball like kids playing in school, and yes, you get up into college and you get up into the major leagues. A totally different world from just playing in high school and minor league, or not minor league, college, but no, I'm talking like club ball.
Yeah,
okay,
gotcha.
All the way to major league. You always look at it as a pastime. It was the nation's pastime, right?
Yeah, right.
We just a pastime. We just went out there, we had a good time. We swung a bat, we hit a ball, right? And you fast forward into today's age, and all this stuff that actually goes behind how you start seeing this factory, this machine that's pumping out these players
how do we
that are high level, end over end. They just stack them up like cordwood. They're just insane athletes. Well, that didn't just happen by accident.
No.
Because not only did you take, there's obviously some ones, the one in those that's just natural. Those guys
but
are
even
just
there, at some point, it becomes like they might have good habits, they might have good instincts,
right. But that's what I'm talking about.
Stuff.
The development of that to take them from where they're already good. But what you guys were able to do to take somebody that's like, hey, you got something you don't see, and develop that to make them pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not spectacular, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Enough to maybe make it to the major leagues. They might not play out there every single time, but they're sitting on the roster. You know what I mean?
You've done something that majority of people will never even dream about.
What's
doing.
the percentage?
It's so 5% of high school athletes will go to college, right? Of those, I think it's 3% of college athletes will get drafted. Of the 1,200 guys that get drafted, or no, it might be of the 12% that get drafted, 10% will make it to the big leagues, and these numbers might
but we're talking, at least we're talking in a realm here.
Of the 1,200 guys that get drafted every year, 3% will make a living, like call a career.
So we're talking 3% of everybody.
Of 1,200 of 5% of 2 million.
2 million out of 2 million people. That percentage is actually makes. So
it's
these guys are like, I'm going to go play
0.001%.
I'm just saying at some point in time in your life, in your career, you have to understand. You have to face the music.
Yeah, right.
I either really have this.
Yeah.
I mean, because Dad can take me to so many batting practices and pitching classes and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But I either got this and I have to be real with myself and I can move forward, or I just don't.
Yeah.
And I have to be real with myself and I have to figure out what I'm going to do in life, because I just wasted
that time.
A lot of it.
Yeah. But you can't look at it that way.
Yes.
You can't.
I mean, you learned. Right. But I'm just saying there's some people whose hearts get broken. And
Absolutely.
The data analytics.
My heart got broken. Yeah. Right? Like, I mean, my heart was broken. I sat on a baseball field for 3 hours after I played my last game. 3 hours. And bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
Told everybody, leave. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. I'll be okay. Let me get through this.
So we're going to jump up then on that right there, on that note right there, because I know personally you have been pulled away from baseball, come back to baseball, pulled away. So much so that you've got a license plate in your truck that says see a ball. Because I mean, you were out of this at one point in time.
Yeah.
You were done. Yeah. And what I thought was very interesting is in some of the other career paths you took, the amount of energy and time that you put into understanding those career paths, like you did in baseball, the passion that you had in baseball, you took that and put it, even though you didn't maybe necessarily care for it, you made yourself care for it so that you were the best at that
absolutely.
that you could be.
Yeah, but I'm not a person that's like, I'm not just like, I don't know how to just kind of do anything.
Right.
You know that, right?
Yeah. There's no,
like,
we're not, you told me that before. You're like, even my wife, she'll look at me and she's like, I know what's going to happen because when you get into this,
I've got to be
you
very
go 150%. And I know what that means for the rest of us. I know what's going to happen.
Exactly. I've got to be very careful what I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like, I just can't kind of do anything. It's just how God made me, right?
Yeah.
Like I've got to understand it, and I've got to be able to dig into the trenches. Like, look, when I got into working with orthopedic surgeons, like you've seen the book, right?
Oh my, it's insane.
The
illustrations.
I would draw everything.
Yeah.
Right. Because I want to
anatomically, these weren't just like
Yeah.
crap sketches. This is what you would see in an A&P book in college.
Right. Yeah.
In pencil.
Yeah. Yep.
All the way to the anchor points and all the crazy, which I know a little bit about medical myself,
Yeah,
obviously.
right.
But to the degree that you took it, knowing nothing to that point, just so that you could be the best at that.
But
while
I need
you
to
were in that
understand
surgery room, you needed to understand
absolutely.
it.
And so for like on my side of it, like I'm going to stand there and give someone who's the most educated person on the planet
in this room for sure
advice. Yeah. Right. I better know what I'm talking about.
Like it's standing over his shoulder.
Yeah. And most people would look at that and be like, how did you go from being a baseball coach to being like a med device rep? Well, you're just, to me, I always looked at it like I'm just a coach.
I was a baseball player, then I was a coach.
Yep.
You know, then I went to coaching this guy in orthopedics, but I still had a little bit of understanding of how like joints and these different things didn't work. So that wasn't completely out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't a complete stretch.
But then we pull out of that and we go back into baseball again.
Yeah.
And then every time you go into that baseball, there was this overwhelming sense of I'm doing what I love, but I'm not doing it where I need to be doing it. And you and I had those conversations, and I understand there was a lot of things that played into why it couldn't happen then.
Yeah, right.
And then eventually we're going to get into here how it did happen.
Yeah, right.
But it was like I can pour my love into these people that I thought cared for me, or people that I call friend, people that I had met along the way, people I helped get where they're at along, people I loved. You know, I poured myself into that, and either it was, you know, from a sense of that they were worried that you were going to do better than them. You know, they were jealous.
Insecurities, stuff like that,
or just the fact that it's competitive nature. Business is
and somebody gets an opportunity to take a step up the ladder. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, if they're not in a partnership with you, they can't fully have that trust. And if they know you're going to be doing it better than them at times, there's going to be some insecurities that shine through. They're going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to have this guy doing this because he's making me look bad as the owner, you know? So we push out, we pull back, we push out, we pull back. And eventually, I know you and I are having a conversation, and you're like, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm done. So let's talk about that moment when you were like, you had some stuff going on in life. You had some really crazy stuff that was on the back burner we didn't even know was happening.
Yeah, right. Well, that was my fault. I didn't tell anybody about it, you know.
No.
But that goes back to who I am, right? Like,
and we talked a lot.
Yeah, every day.
So,
yeah. And like, I mean, for reference for everyone, like Bob's one of the very few people in this world that like I'll call about anything, right? Like no matter what, right? It doesn't matter. And that, unfortunately for him, but fortunately for me, right?
But I appreciate it to have that kind of trust from somebody.
But there are very few people in the world that you're ever going to have that you can trust. Like I can say anything to, and you know, and again, it goes back to that, like when you know you got a brother, like we cannot talk for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's just, it doesn't matter.
Like send a little like check-in text, be like,
and I know you're busy.
You good?
I know what you're up to
these
I'm days.
Good.
So I'm
good?
like, he's buried. I know he's buried, and he doesn't need anything from me at this point. He doesn't need the banter. He doesn't need anything. He's buried right now.
Yeah, and when we both get our heads back, we'll jump back in the clear, we're right back in it. You know, and it's like, but going back to it, like for me, you know, I was dealing with, these crazy medical stuff, right? And it like I didn't really even know, so that's why I didn't talk about it a lot. And then it got to be scary, and it's like now if I tell people, they're gonna be like, "Well, what the hell have you been waiting this long for to get it taken care of?" And it's like, okay, what? So then I go talk to medical professionals. And it's like, they don't know what's going on.
Right.
But, you know, then they're like, well, go do physical therapy. I get thrown out of physical therapy.
And that guy knew something
he knew something was wrong. Yeah. And so, like, the bottom line is, at some point in my life, I'd broken my neck, right? What we know was it was a long time ago. We don't know when. We've tried to figure it out, but it's impossible to figure out. And so, culminated in this summer, Aaron and I and the kids were coming back from a baseball tournament. Shocker, I know, right? But we decided to take a little like spur of the moment family vacation. One of the girls asked me if I go dive off the diving board with her into the pool. I did. I went completely paralyzed, right? And I had started my own thing before that, but I wasn't really like, I think about the guy before everything happened. I think about the guy after everything happened.
Now, the guy before taught lessons.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you did some coaching on the side, taught some lessons to some kids here and there.
Yeah.
Right.
The guy that got out of that pool
Like
was
Griffin baseball, when it
monster.
started, was
yeah.
I just taught some dudes some lessons.
Yeah,
but the guy who came back out
Yeah.
for Griffin baseball,
Totally
the guy that
different
went
monster.
through a major surgery.
That's a whole different story.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is a
right.
different story. Yeah. But we'll just say it was a lazy-eyed Polish guy that did an awesome job.
He did a great job. I highly recommend him. Right.
You know, on his spinal
But
cord
at the
surgery.
time,
And I mean, literally, we're talking a do or die surgery, a surgery that, you know, this is going to go really, really well, or this life I'm talking to you.
I didn't understand why. Like, everybody was so like, get to the hospital immediately.
Right.
It's like, I've been dealing with this for 8 months. Like, what do you mean get to the hospital immediately? They're like, right now.
And put a neck brace on, because
Before
we're
you
afraid
get
if
to
you
the
slip and
hospital,
fall out of your truck or
you're
someone bumps
dead.
you, you're dead.
Yeah, right. And it's like, what the hell's going on? So anyways, but yeah, so like, I get through all that, and it's like, you get to the flip side of it, and it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? You know?
So now I have a new lease on life.
Yeah,
we'll call
because like the biggest thing that changed me was like I look back like at the event in the pool, right? And it's okay. So I'll finish that one, right? Because I almost died, right? And I know my wife hates it when I say this, right? Because she feels like she failed me, but she doesn't. I'm a grown ass man, right? Like we have 5 kids.
She didn't know what was going on
she's
anymore than
trying to
anybody
hurt-
else did.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So
And so it's like I fight to get my head above the water. I finally do. Then I realize when I get my head above water, like the lifeguard's watching the pool and my wife is watching her kids in the pool. There's like 100 people in this pool. No one sees that I'm drowning.
Right.
No one. Right.
And I seen a video the other day, so don't feel bad. I mean, there was a pool like this, I think it was in China, and this kid went in the corner and he's struggling, and it's a time-lapse video.
Yeah.
This kid finally sinks to the bottom of the pool, and there's a dad standing there watching other kids play, not even 10 feet from him.
Dude.
He was under the water for probably 5 to 10 minutes at the bottom of that pool before finally some kid saw him. And Griff, there was probably 50 people in this pool.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So, I mean, it definitely can happen. People don't realize he's a full-grown adult. You know?
Yeah, right.
They don't know he's over there
yeah,
drowning.
I'm fine, right?
Yeah, he's fine.
And so it's like, so I get my head above water and I realize nobody's looking. And it's like, as my head's going back underwater, it was like most disheartening feeling, right? It's like nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows. And
I'm drowned.
I'm sitting there looking at my hands going, if we're getting out of this pool, we're fucking doing it on our own. There's 2 ways out of this pool. One of them's in a body bag.
And you got other ways you got to start moving.
And my kids are not watching their father die right now. This isn't how it's happening. It's not ending like this. It's not happening. And I remember looking over to my left and seeing the ladder and being like, we're going. I don't give a shit how bad this hurts. Like, we're dying trying, right? And I grabbed the ladder and I pull my head up out of the water, and my wife, I love her, right? She looks at me, she's like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, nope.
I'm not okay.
I'm actually not okay.
Yeah.
And I can think of maybe 1 or 2 other times when I've ever said that to her in my entire life.
Yeah.
Right? Ever. We've been together for 22 years.
22 years, yes. You guys got how many kids?
5 kids.
5 kids.
22 years. And 2 times before that I've ever said, I'm not okay.
To the point that, like, I'm scared.
Oh, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I look back at it and it's like my life before that, if I would have died, like, because that's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have died in that pool, right? They had my funeral, right? You carry my ass to my grave, right?
Yep.
I would have had a ton of regret for the decisions that I made. And like, that's the one thing like I can't do. I can't live a life that at the end of it, I'm going to look at it and say, I regret not doing this. I regret not doing that. I regret not having this. Right. And it's like that 8 month process, I would never wish on anyone.
Right.
But at the same time, I kind of would.
But we get through that. And I think the biggest thing out of it was that your mindset completely shifted.
Totally different.
When you say a different animal came out, it was because we talked about it over and over and over again. And I heard a lot of, well, I can't because of this reason and I can't because of that reason. And now I can't doesn't really seem to be in a repertoire. It is, this is happening.
Yep.
That's happening. This decision's made split second. This decision's made split second. And whatever that fallout is from that, good or bad, we're standing behind it because this is what we're doing and we're moving forward, knocking them down, we're moving forward. So Griffin comes out of this and says, we are starting up Griffin baseball.
Yeah, we're going full
tilt.
Yeah. And I'd been doing lessons in like a little facility, and it was great, like to kind of get everything figured out. But then it's like before I faced some adversity, and before I would have like played kind of the no fair game, right? Like, oh man, like what am I gonna do now, right? And instead I was like, fuck it, we'll double down. Oh, okay. 4,000 square foot facility's not gonna work? No problem. I'll get a 9,000 square foot facility. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have a rent payment? No problem. We'll figure that out. Yeah. Right. Oh, we need to do this? No problem. We'll figure that out.
And now, meanwhile, you've got people that you've known for a very long time that start to hear word that you're doing your own thing, and they're reaching out by the droves. They're going, Griffin,
hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Where are you doing it? I want to be a part of it.
I told you one day, I was like, you know, you're onto something when everybody starts like really poking.
They're either calling you because they're worried. It's the people that are going to be worried that you used to work with, or it's people that are calling you going, hey, we're over here and we were there because you were, but where are you at now?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Are you still doing this? Because we want to go there.
And that's a delicate line you got to walk too, because you can't just like blow everything up in the, like we talked about this before.
Hey,
like
I'm not going to snipe you guys, but if they leave, they leave.
Right,
they were there for a reason. They leave for a reason. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't call them.
It's their choice.
They knew I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to try to like sink any ships, right? Like I'm not that person.
Right.
I got enough to worry about, right?
That's perspective.
But if someone calls me and says, I need your help, guess what? Yeah. I am the person that's going to say, I'm going to help you. Right?
So we say the 4,000 square foot warehouse doesn't work. We're going 9,000. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into the logistics of operations on how the baseball coach becomes a business owner.
Totally different animal.
It's a totally different animal, right?
Yep.
So logistically, let's talk about just starting to lay out an open span 9,000 square foot with you've got heating and cooling running up and down. Like you're hitting baseballs.
The building had been on fire 3 months before that.
We've got nets we got to hang from here.
Right.
You know, we're putting.
I got to order turf, nets, all this stuff, and I've never done all this stuff before.
Right. Not only you got to order it, you got to fund it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to find sources to fund it, or wherever you're going to pull from to do that. And then logistically, how you can only coach so many people in 9,000 square foot. And we know how commercial property goes. It's expensive. So now we have to recruit coaches. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So now we're putting a team together. So
I remember calling you and being like, hey, I hired 2 guys. You're like, what?
Where are we at? What?
That escalated quickly.
We didn't even have a net up yet.
Yeah, that's right.
We had an open span building. Yep. And some of these coaches were highly respected people that have come from other huge organizations.
Yeah, major league organizations. Yeah.
Major league organizations, which you have a pretty immense background in.
Yeah, right.
I mean, without having to get into a bunch of names and stuff like that, I'm fine with. He's never been a name dropper, so we're not going to drop a ton of names. Yeah. But he is respected within the community and has a lot of personal ties to some very big people.
My why behind not name dropping is I think a lot of people don't understand it, right? Like I could name drop if I wanted to.
Yeah, but that's not we don't.
But the reality is like, my relationship with them is my relationship with them. My relationship with you is my relationship with you.
Right.
And
you name drop me whenever you want, by the way. It's fine.
I name drop Bob all the time, right? All the time, like literally all the time. So, but I don't want players coming to me because they think I'm going to do for them what I did for other people. Like,
right.
I'm going to do for you
whatever you're
what is best for you, right? And I call it the booger on the face mentality, right? Like if I've got a booger on my face and we're riding in the car together, going somewhere, and you don't tell me, we're not friends.
Right.
We're not going to be friends.
Yeah.
Right. If I've got a booger on my face and you tell me, you're in.
But you've had hard conversations with people. I mean, there was people that wanted this more than anything, and you've had to look at them and listen. We're 4 or 5 lessons in.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, little Johnny, he doesn't got what it takes to be here with me right now.
Yeah, right.
He needs to go back to square one and develop something else, and then we can come back.
Figure out
talk.
This is what you really want.
Yeah,
right? Because
and that's payment aside. I know Dad's paying me. Like that's money aside. It's not what's best for you.
I had someone book 20 weeks worth of lessons, an hour. So back then I did 30-minute increments for a lesson. Right. They booked an hour, which is 2 lessons every time. So that's 4 lesson slots per week for 20 weeks. That's a ton.
Yes.
On our end, on my end, right?
Yes.
And in that case, we got like 4 weeks into it, and it's like you're not doing anything to get any better. Like me letting you come in next week I'm failing you.
Yes.
Is it financially beneficial for me to let you keep coming in? Sure. Yeah. I'm making money on you.
Right.
But is it the right thing to do? No. And along the way, I've made people would get so mad at me along the way because I'd make decisions that everybody else would be like, what are you doing? Right? Maryville. Okay, I'm coaching at DeSmet High School with my best friend. This guy's the godfather of 3 of my children, or 2 of my children, right? I'm the godfather of one of his kids. I was best man at his wedding, right? We're coaching on a faith base that was like, I've never been able to replicate it since, right?
Yeah.
And we're crushing it. And so I get a phone call to say, hey, do you want to be a college baseball coach, right? On my way into the hospital to give birth, where we're having our 4th child.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Let me call you back. We're kind of busy right now, right? And so everybody, it's like, who do you call? Okay, if I call a baseball person, what are they going to say? Take the college job, right? Okay. If I call a family member, right? What are they going to say? Take the college baseball job. Why? Because everybody gets to say I'm a college. Oh, I know this guy. He's a college baseball coach. I know this guy. He trains these guys. I know this guy. He does that. But you're not doing it. I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm the one that's living it every day.
Right.
And I'm not to sound ungrateful, but like I'm the one that's away from my family and putting the time and the work and the effort in.
Right.
Right. You get the benefit of saying you know that guy, but I am that guy.
Right.
I got to go live that shit every day.
Yeah.
And so when I'm making a decision, I got to make a decision that's best for me and for my family first.
Right.
Right. And then secondarily, what's best for everyone else around me. Right. And so it's like, okay, like people don't understand. So I've made a lot of those decisions where people are like, dude, what do you mean? What are you even thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. Well, yeah, who cares? Like, you could forever say that you did this. Yeah, okay, sure, you're great.
Yeah. So let's go on a resume, but
how does that benefit?
How does that benefit me at the end of the day?
Right. And at the end of the day, am I doing what God has planned for me?
Sure.
Right. And so, because regardless of difficult, I don't care how hard something is. If I think it's what God has planned for me, I'm doing it. I don't care.
So in saying that, what would you say would have been your biggest professional accomplishment then?
Man, that's a tough question. Getting back into baseball.
Getting back into it?
Mm-hmm.
Is on this level for yourself?
Yeah.
Or you mean just like you
Just
went
in
away
general,
and just getting back into it?
Because getting out was so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally cried for months. Yeah. When I left, right? But I did it for my wife. I did it for my family. I did it for my immediate family and my secondary family. Like, and because again, like what people didn't understand was I was a dad to everybody else. Not literally a dad, but like
get it, yeah.
Right? Like there for everybody else.
I'm coaching all their stuff and missing mine,
but I'm never there for my kids,
right?
And financially, like I couldn't put food on the table at one point for our family. No one cared. Yeah. No one gave a rat's ass. No one cared. And it's like, who am I doing this for? Yeah. What am I doing this for? Yeah. And am I doing it for everybody else? Or am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for my wife? Am I doing it for our kids? Right. And it put a lot of strain on my marriage, a lot of strain on our relationships. Right.
And it ultimately boiled down to it wasn't what you were doing, but how you were doing it.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Because your decision to get back into baseball was because I'm going to get back into it on my terms, the way that I need to do it so that my family benefits and I benefit.
Yep, that's right.
Because before everybody else was benefiting and I just got to say, and you were not, and your family was not.
And I was.
Oh, in your soul.
To an extent, right?
But I mean, as an adult,
but not in a way that like made my wife's life better or my kids' life better. Yeah. Like I was doing it in a way that made like other people's lives better, which made me feel great, which brought a better version of me home.
But we can do that still,
exactly,
and incorporate the other things in too. But you always felt like you were taking advantage of people by doing that
because I felt lucky to be there, right? You know, and it's like that's what like it's a fine line to walk when you're doing what you love to do, because you don't want to lose it, and you feel lucky to be doing it. But at the same time, it's like, and I didn't necessarily see the value in what I was doing because I wasn't physically the one doing it, right? I'm not the one standing on the mound throwing a pitch, right? I'm not the one standing in the box swinging a bat. Like, I'm not the one fielding a ground ball. I'm the one that's like helping you do those things, but I'm not actually doing those things, right? And so how do I take credit for, and that was something I always have struggled with, is like, how do I take credit for your success when you're the one doing it? Mm-hmm. I don't. Right? I take credit for our relationship. I take credit for like helping you and being there for you and the consistency of that side of it. But at the end of the day, you have to go do it. Right. Right. And so for me, it was always like, if I'm going to cut those strings whenever it gets tough, I'm going to cut those strings whenever it gets good too, because I can't take credit for the good and I take credit for the bad. Right. Right. And not everybody's that way, but I am. Like, again, it goes back to like, I do things a little bit different than what other people do, right?
And that's okay. You know, I think
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yes,
I used to hate it, but I love it now.
Well,
right?
it's a problem in some people's eyes. They see it and go, hey, this is everybody before you that did this. This is how they did it. Well, that doesn't mean that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, how do I make myself stand out amongst all those people? How am I different?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm different because this is the way I do it, and it works for me this way.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like baseball and coaching people, it doesn't work the same for every single pitcher. No. It's not the same
it
adjustments.
It shouldn't be.
Everybody's individual.
Right. Like if I train you exactly the same way that I train somebody else, okay, when they figure out how to do it, how to have success against that person, guess what? You're screwed.
Right.
Why? Because they've already got the game plan against you.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing. You shouldn't want to be just like the other person.
Right.
You should want to, you can be similar to that person, but be you. Yeah. Right. Because that's, again, for me, that's where the faith side of it comes in. Like, God made you. Right. Like, he makes all of us.
Right.
Okay. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means you're made for a reason, right? Because he's not capable of making a mistake. Right. And so you have something here that only you can do. Go do it. Mm-hmm. Don't try to be me. You can look at what I do and you can see the things that I do, maybe those habits and those things, but bring your own thing to the table. Right. I don't need two versions of me. I already have me.
Yeah, I'm me. I'm already taken.
Right? We need you.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, that's when you run into people that are like, I just want to be like this guy. Mm-hmm. That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to be like that guy. I want you to be you, right? Stand on your own 2 feet. Like, be your own self.
It's a hard concept because we see people that we admire, or we see that we want to be like them in certain ways. Yeah. The fact of the matter is that maybe I'm not good in the way that they're good, but I'm good in a way that they're not.
Yeah, but it's scary because you don't have an out now.
Right.
That's what everybody wants.
No excuse. They want an excuse as to why. Well, now, I couldn't do it like he was doing it, or I couldn't now put it together like he was.
Like, the biggest takeaway I had from the pool thing was, like, in a good way, and it sounds bad, but in a good way, no one was there. And you and I have had that conversation.
That's life in entrepreneurship.
But no one could be there
at the inception.
That's right.
Is that nobody's coming.
Right. And
it's just you.
So do you know how many times I've looked, and we've had this conversation, but, like, do you know how many times I've looked back and been like, if I get through that shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I can get my dead ass out of a pool when I have no moving function in my body, none. I'm an anchor going to the bottom of a pool. I don't know how much people know about water, but that's not preferable for breathing. And breathing's kind of a necessary function, right?
Right.
So it's either we get this inanimate object out of the water so we can keep our heart beating, or we're dead.
Yeah.
It's over.
And what it basically boiled down to, too, so that people know, because we talk about, being paralyzed, was there was such a small portion of your spinal cord that was passing through.
It's a 3 millimeter gap.
3 millimeter gap. Yeah. That when you shocked it by hitting the water and stunned it, it shut everything off momentarily.
Yeah, it's called, I think it said it was a compression palsy event.
Okay.
Where it compressed the back wall against the front wall.
It caused a palsy.
Yeah.
And so your brain's still working, and you're telling yourself, I need you to work, but the sensation, all it went away, and then was slowly coming back as you're like, I'm running out of breath. Like, I don't have much. So now we're in the chapter of our life that's burn the boats.
Yep, that's it.
We're burning the boats.
Done. Yeah.
We're building Griffin baseball.
Yep.
We have a 9,000 square foot facility. Yep. We've got turf in now, finally, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We've got signage gone up. We just broke a secret
the secret
passageway for a secret office.
How cool is that,
we didn't know it was in there. Just break the drywall. There's a door, Exactly. Now we got an office. It's got circa 1970 couches in it already. It's pretty badass. So I loved it. I was like, I'm going to go chill in there. But so we're putting together a team, right?
Yep.
So you've got 2 coaches aside from you that work in there, right?
Yep.
How many students do you currently have?
We're about 30 right now.
About 30 students, full-time students that are booked.
Yep.
Okay. Which is a pretty full week.
Oh, yeah, it's full.
You guys working 7 days a week?
Yeah, we were talking. So we're 6 out of 7 days right now. Mm-hmm. But we've been in the new building for a month, and I have 4 open lesson slots this week.
And so we were talking about that on the way up here, and something I wanted to get into is how you were talking about how that's scary, that you're getting to the point now in business where you're starting. So business for you understand it, but you didn't live it. You lived the coaching side of it.
Exactly.
And so now you're like, I've got to be a business owner, a business operator, and I got to be a coach still.
Yep.
But I also have to coach coaches and coach kids.
Yep.
So totally different world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said, I'm worried about that. And I said, well, that creates something called scarcity.
Yeah.
Which isn't always bad, because one of 2 things happens. You create that scarcity. Either people are going to walk away, but it might not have been somebody you wanted either way.
Yeah.
But if they stay or they wait or they get on that waiting list, they really want to be there.
Yeah.
And when people really want to be there, they're going to put that work and that time
they'll
in.
do what it takes.
It also can be the gateway to pricing increases.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
demand.
there's
Right.
demand. So
Yeah.
everything's supply and demand. So as you've got a waiting list that's growing out and you're booking these slots up, sometimes that means rates need to go up a little bit.
Yeah, right.
You know? And so...
But on my side, I see it as like, shit, I'm not getting everybody taken care of.
And that's the coach.
Right.
You know, the coach is going, I want to help all these people, which is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But all those guys that made it big before you, they understood that too.
Yeah.
They knew that the value that they had, they were going to bring to these people was really good.
Yeah.
But as they didn't have availability anymore and these people were just eating the slots up immediately, they're like, I got to start raising my price till some of these people are not that dedicated anymore.
On my end, like historically, and that's where it goes back to like experience, right? Historically, it's always been a growth model.
Sure.
Right? Like when we started the Rolling Tigers, right? We had 12 teams first year. Next year, 36. Next year, 60. Then it was like 80. And now it's like 380.
Right.
Right. And 11, or I think it's more than that, I think, states, right?
Which is, and Rawlings Tigers is the largest club baseball organization
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
And you started that.
I helped
you and
start
another
it.
guy helped start that in a driveway.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. So another whole chapter and another podcast, to be honest. It's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But so where's Griffin baseball today and what's it looking like for the next 5 to 10 years?
I know where the next 3 years look like. I've got that pretty much planned out, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 years, I'm not sure yet.
But so let's focus on 3 years then. So 3 years right now, we've got, like you said, we got turf in.
Yep.
We've got 3 nets up, all the different gear and everything you need.
Yep.
What are the major programs that you're working on with people? Do you have a niche in program? Is it only pitching? Is it batting? Is it full?
It's everything. Yep.
It's everything?
Yep.
So these people are coming to you specifically for what usually? Is it
pitching,
targeted?
hitting, catching, and then like the next development phase is the athletic training side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bringing in a local guy who's like a renowned athletic trainer, and then so we'll have like the goal is in the next 6 months to have a complete one-stop shop where you as an athlete can come in and get everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can come in, you can get your training done, you can get your nutrition stuff, you can get the athletic training, the workout side of it done to get your body right.
You'll have that in the facility as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can get your skills development, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can get your mental development also, right? I think that a lot of, again, in my experience, right, there's a lot of really physically talented people. We're really good at teaching like how to move.
Yes.
Right. We're really good at diagnosing inefficiencies in
Mm-hmm.
how to move and addressing those now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it goes back to that day that I missed my son's baseball game. The thing that Strami told me that literally changed my career, which was I was frustrated because I could get guys to move the right way, but I couldn't get them to retain it.
Mm.
And so he said, what's the precursor to any movement? And we drive it down to it's a thought, right? And so he said, okay, well, if the precursor to any movement's a thought, what's the precursor to any thought? And we've talked about it, but it took me like 6 months to figure it out. And that's the beauty of Strom. Like, he didn't give you the answer.
Yeah.
He made you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And
so you call him with your aha moment, like, I figured it out.
I emailed him, yeah.
Did you?
Yep. And he's like, bingo, you got it, right?
So what is it then?
It's emotion.
It's emotion.
Emotions, yeah.
So emotion is a precursor to a thought, which is
Mm-hmm.
a precursor to an action.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because I was listening to a guy the other day that was talking about how he would go into organizations motivationally
Mm-hmm.
and he could get them motivated while he was there.
Yeah.
But when he left, the motivation
It's
left
gone,
with him.
right? The supply is gone.
So how do you keep people motivated
I
beyond
always,
your inception and your exit?
That's right. The analogy is always like, how do I turn a light on?
You flip the switch.
You have to flip the switch, right?
But then once you flip the switch, there's a whole nother reaction.
That's right. And if I unplug the source of the power, what happens?
It turns off.
The light's gone.
Yeah.
You got to be your own light.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to teach you how to do that.
Gotcha.
And so for me, I even drove it down one step further. Like what affects us emotionally the most? And it's when our belief system gets compromised, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone came up and took something from you, what would the reaction be?
You'd be upset.
You'd be pissed.
Right.
But you would.
Right.
Does everybody?
No, nobody else cares.
Right. And so it's like, but I mean, like if someone came up and took something from someone else, right? if there are certain people out there that you could go and take something from right now, and they would say, "Oh, did you need that?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I need it. Oh, okay. Well, you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fucking doing that to me. You come and take my shit, we're going to war, right?
Right.
So, but
there was a time when it wasn't like that.
Agreed.
There was a time that was like, well, he must have needed it more than I needed it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've felt that about some things too.
Yeah.
But it just depends on what we're talking about.
Exactly.
You
And
you got to change your mindset. You got to be a little bit more battle hardened and a little bit more
change your belief system.
A little bit more intentional with the way that you give and take.
That's right. And so that's the side I think that needs the most care and attention right now. Like we've got really well-trained people that are experts in all this other mechanical stuff and the data analytics, and myself included, like I've put a lot of effort into learning that stuff.
Yeah.
But we're not really very good at teaching you how to be an athlete, right? Mentally.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like we've tiptoed around it, but how do I think like an athlete? How do I move like an athlete?
I know some companies that could probably help you with that. Might reach out to them.
Yeah.
But they do teach mental fortitude.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you're an athlete or an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're a songwriter. It doesn't matter. That mindset track,
it translates to everything.
Is always the same, because what it is it's a set of systems that pulls it out of you.
Yep.
Whatever's in there is going to come out.
That's right.
Using the system.
Yep.
But I don't know what's in there, but we're going to find it.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And we've had that conversation. That's what I love about baseball, right? Is, to me, it's the most reflective game that there is of life, like real life.
You get out of it what you're putting in it,
right? That it's a product of your habits, right? If you have really good habits, you're going to probably be okay at baseball, right? But not even there. No matter how good you get, you still struggle.
Yeah,
you're going to fail more times than you succeed.
Yeah,
right. And you say, okay, well, that's just on the hitter side. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's all the way across the board, right? Like, okay, pitchers. Like most pitchers will start over 40 games a year. How many guys won over 20 games? In 2022, there was one.
One guy that won over 20 games?
One guy that won over 50% of the games that he pitched in.
Wow. Went over how many that he's allowed to pitch within a game?
Yeah, so he one guy that went out there over 40 times and won half the games that he pitched in.
Gotcha.
One guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else was less than that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a shitty statistic.
Yeah.
They either got no decisions or they got the loss.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Well, what about the hitters? Well, the hitters must be really good. No, you fail 7 out of 10 times or more. That's life.
Yeah.
Do you know how many things you're going to try to do and fail?
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to go try. And you got to have the guts to get up even after you failed and go, you know what, we're doing it again.
Let's go again.
Right? Why? Because I believe me.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet on me. Right? Okay, fine. That didn't work either. Let's go again. Right? Okay, fine. Let's go again. I'm going to keep going until I figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Right? And when I do, it's going to be all worth it.
But what's crazy is how that's deeply rooted within yourself. Like, I cannot give that to you.
No.
You're either that guy or you're not that guy.
Yep.
You know, I can show you how to see it, how to extract it from yourself,
believe it.
but you have to believe it.
That's right.
And you have to perform it, and you have to do it every day.
That's right. Yep.
You know, like I told you up here, I was having a conversation with a kid that he just, you know, we're not even a month in, and he's just lost his direction on his original direction. And so I'm like, well, hold on a second.
It's easy to do. The world wants you to do that.
I start poking, I start asking questions. What it boiled down to was he's allowing other people's thoughts play into his decisions.
So bullshit.
I said, now let me ask you something. Are those people where you want to be? Oh, no, they're just friends of mine that I admire their opinion. I'm like, why do you admire their opinion?
Their opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah. And he goes, well, they said that, you know, like that the people that I'm resonating with might feel a certain kind of way. And those could be what my people feel. And I said, did it resonate with you? Is that why you wrote it? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, who are the people that you're looking to gain? And he's like, well, people like me. I'm like, then why would you give a shit what they told
exactly,
you?
Right.
If it resonates with you, it's going to resonate with your people because that's why you designed it in the first place.
Right. But you don't see it that like, look, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Right. Like, again, it goes back to like I wouldn't recommend anyone to do things the way that I've done them.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this before. I mean, there's people who learn how to do the right thing by seeing the right thing over and over again. And then there's those that just innately pick up the fact that that's the wrong way to do it.
Yep.
And so I'm going to do the exact opposite.
You look over there
every single time.
and you see this dude that's on flames burning and suffering. And you're like, that looks miserable. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm the guy burning.
Yeah.
Every time.
And you put the fire out and you're like, okay, so don't do that.
Right,
anybody. So
guys, guys, don't go over there. That's not fun. Right.
That'll catch you on fire.
Right. But again, it's like, okay, I crazy, yes, but I look at it as like, okay, well, most people couldn't handle being on fire.
Yeah,
I can.
Right.
right?
Like burned over and over and over again.
Yeah, right. Like, you know how many times I've been on fire? What's one more, right?
So tell me this then. What would be, because being on fire, starting Griffin Baseball, starting these organizations, the business side of this, absolutely a fire with gasoline and
100%.
kerosene and everything else on top of it.
Yeah.
What would probably been one of the biggest shocking things that's caught you off guard that you didn't anticipate in starting the business side of it?
Timeline stuff.
Timeline stuff?
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
You mean waiting for other people or expectations or
drives
what?
me bonkers, man. Like because again, like
I'm talking business side.
Yeah. I'm a very A to B to C to D kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
Like if I do this, if I put 1 + 1, we get 2 as a result, right? It's so many steps along the way. It's like, okay, what do I need to do? You need to do this. Okay, I'll go do it. Well, you need to do it this way. Well, I just did it the way you told me. Okay, go do it that way. All right, so I go do it that way. Well, we got to do this. Okay, go do that. Well, you need to do it. Fuck. Look. We're one more try away from me losing my shit on you.
So those are things that are constraints that don't seem to be within your hands.
It's outside of my control, and that's what drives me bonkers.
So what's within your control that you're like, man, I really need to work on this more?
Like my day-to-day scheduling stuff. Like it's because every day I wake up and there's like an
organization
blazing
standpoint?
fire that's happened overnight, and it's like, shit, I gotta go put that fire out. Okay, right? So you go starting to put that fire out. Well, everything that you had planned and lined up for the day is now put on the back burner as a result of it. So it's like, okay, all of a sudden now I've been working on this for 3 hours because I didn't know. Yeah. Like again, for me, like I just don't know a lot of stuff yet.
So do you not have a system at all in place for any of that? Or I mean, you might have a calendar.
I try.
You know, because I know you have websites and you have like a way for people to book lessons and all that kind of stuff. But is it just because you're trying to do it all? Do you think maybe you're not delegating enough? Like you're just trying to handle everything?
Well, from a startup standpoint, like I don't have the cash flow to be able to like hire a bunch of people to go do like I've got it. I am the IT guy. I am the maintenance guy. I am the cleaner. I am the facility maintenance.
Right.
You know, like, and that's okay.
So
right?
so you're like, I need to figure out a way to make it more efficient within the realms of what I can handle.
Right. And every realm,
until I can move that on.
Every time I get a chance to fill one of those voids, I take it. Yeah. You know, and it's like,
you've done that with some of your coaching. Yeah. You know,
is that going to be hard? Yeah. Like I hired a guy this week, right? That he's just day-to-day stuff, right? Like, so he's cleaning the facility up. He's making sure the cages are taken care of. He's checking people in when they come in for their lessons. And he loves it. He's doing a great job, right? But like, again, that takes that task off of my plate. Right. And so now I'm slowly starting to transition to where like I'm able to work on more of the business stuff because I'm starting to see that like if the business stuff isn't successful, everything else is gone.
Well, you enjoy the marketing side of things too, and you're really good at it. Yeah. The problem I see in that is that with some of the stuff that you put out, it is so attractive that if you're not prepared to take what's going to come in off of that marketing,
I've had that problem.
Then you're turning people away.
Right. And again, it goes back to like for a long time, I never told anybody what I did. Right. And so all of a sudden it's like, boom, here's what I do. And everybody's like, what? It's like, yeah. Like, dude, I'm coming in. Okay, great. Come on in. Right. Like, that's awesome. That's what we wanted. Right. And then it's like, 79 minutes and 15 seconds. Go ahead and cut that out. It's like, well, wait, hold on a second. We're not ready yet for that type of growth. Yeah. And like, that's been hard, you know, because it's a lot of audibles. But at the same time, it's like, it goes back to that, like, guy before the pool, guy after the pool, right? Like the guy after the pool is like, I don't give a shit how hard this is. Right. I don't care. I don't care.
And Trev, we're
going to find a way.
And I know you do recognize it, but a lot of people sometimes won't when they have that aha moment or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That is a mindset shift.
Oh, 100%.
It's something that we train over and over and over in people because they have a belief system that doesn't work, but they still think if they keep hammering at it, eventually it'll stick.
Well, I'm a good person.
It's wrong.
I'm a good person, therefore the world's going to give back to me.
Yeah, right? You don't get what you want, you get what you are.
That's right.
Okay? You get what you put out there, that's what you get back. Yep. The difference isn't that people are cutthroat or that this guy's a monster and that guy's not. That guy's a monster and he understands how to control it. Or that guy he's very, he pinpoints exactly what he wants in life and he goes over that with a laser focus. Yep. Okay? You are hoping
Yeah, that's right. That's
we
exactly
don't
right.
hope.
Yeah, no,
okay?
not anymore.
We got that in our sights, and that's what we go after. That's what you did. I mean, you got out of this and you said, I'm done with all this BS. I'm not doing this anymore. I know this is what I've wanted for the longest time. And instead of
why have I
hoping
waited?
one day, what am I, I'm another year older, another days went by. Yeah, I understand I got to find the money. But when you want something bad enough, you figure it out.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And it's like,
and people are like, I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting to be at this person. I'm waiting to look like this. I'm waiting to feel like this. You can wait all day long.
You're gonna die.
No one's coming to help you, and you're gonna die.
You're gonna die
waiting.
Trust me.
Yes.
I know.
You're gonna die waiting.
Right.
So.
And it's like it goes back to like you walk. Like, look, for me personally, it took me almost dying. Yeah. To like have that light switch moment, and
it does that for a lot of people. I mean, I work with people in physical fitness and weight loss and stuff like that, and they have to have strokes. Before they start to take their health seriously.
Well, I mean,
like I've been telling you. If you don't quit eating like that and you don't start exercising and you don't start doing these things, that's going to happen. Now it happens. Now all of a sudden, you're not the full person you were before this event.
Yeah.
Now we're working with somebody who's a little bit less capacity than what we could have done and fix this.
Well, so backstory, right? So Bob and I, it's like almost 2 years ago, right? We're sitting around, we're going to do like this coaching thing. And then like, we're going to start working out and doing this stuff. And finally, like we start working out, right? And I'll never forget you being like, hey, dude, we're going to work out. And I'm like, I can't. And you're like, what? Like, I can't. Like, my arms and my legs are numb.
I can't even feel my hands on this hand, and I can't feel my foot over here, and like weird stuff's going on. I don't know what's going on.
And you're like, dude, what? You didn't fucking tell me about this. I was like, I know, I didn't. I know. Like, but I thought.
But guess what? I went and worked out anyway.
That's right.
And
that's
I never
exactly
quit.
Right. But then that's exactly right. And so then like finally we get all this shit fixed, and what happens? We go work out again. Finally we get like I get to go work out. Yeah. How pissed was I? Yeah. Like
he was so mad you couldn't get the air, you couldn't get the weight up, and I'm like, Trav, the fact that you're even here now,
hard. You're like, don't push it too hard.
It was the first day.
Couldn't move my arm for like the next week.
Yeah, because you put too much on, loaded up, and gave her
everything. But it goes back to like I'm not. That's just who I am. Like I don't know how to kind of do anything. Yeah. Right. Like I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, we literally was on a machine, and you were putting up. Well, I mean, on each side you might have had 45 pounds plus the weight of the machine. Okay. You couldn't lift your arms above your head without a pain that would bring you to your knees before you couldn't even wash your hair. Yep. So the fact that you're even sitting in that machine that day, that we've got film of it,
but I don't see
and
it
you're
that
pushing.
way.
I know, but we do.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So you don't give yourself enough credit there.
I get it.
And I know you're like, as I get further in and I'm getting better and I'm back to 100% of what's going to be 100% from now on. It's go time.
Yeah, I'm 14 pounds down now.
Beautiful.
Right? Yeah,
and that's the stuff I love to hear because I talk about it. If you're taking yourself seriously, and you're going to jump in this arena, you need to look the fucking part.
We've talked about that. Okay. Your business is your body.
You're your calling card.
That's it.
You know,
and that's what pissed me off.
Take you seriously
that's what pissed me off.
If I walk in and you look like a slob,
so I know that.
You know,
right? I know that.
Yeah.
But physically, I can't do shit about it.
Right. Right.
Do you know how frustrating that is?
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, Bob, your business is your body.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not going to work out today.
Yeah.
Why not? Well, I got some stuff going on.
But I can't.
Right. And I look like a giant hypocrite, and I knew that.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man.
But I know the backstory behind that.
Now, yeah.
You know, but you've got to the point now where you're like, moving forward, boom, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right.
This is where we're going.
That's exactly right. And it's like,
because that's an important piece of this puzzle.
Yep.
It has to be in there.
It has to be.
You know, when I talk about mind, body, and soul, it's mind, body, and soul. You got your spiritual, you got your mindset, you got your physical set. That all has to be in line.
How do you sit at a desk and tell someone like you want Ferrari output, you got to put Ferrari fuel
right
in your car, right?
Right.
And so for reference, like when I talk to athletes about nutrition stuff, like that's the analogy I use. Like you put dumpster food in your body, you're going to get dumpster output, right? You want Ferrari output, you got to put Ferrari fuel in it, right? Correct. And so you can't treat your Ferrari like a dumpster.
Right. It's not a dump truck.
It's not going to work that way, right? No. Like so, but then you look like a what? You look like a dump truck. That's right. Right. And it's like, shit. And then you gotta be like, but here's why. Yeah. Right. Like you feel like you got to make that excuse. Well, I don't need to anymore. No, but you need to document that process because people need to see, hey, I've been telling you guys all this, and this is where I went, and this is how I got there, and I know why. I've got a reason behind it. But now I'm going to show you when you put your mind back to it, how the hell you get back out of this and how quick I can do it. Yeah, that's right. And then when I'm showing you why you're a dumpster and how we're going to fix that and make this a Ferrari, don't tell me it can't be done because it can be done. When I was 300 pounds,
and I felt like crap and I looked like crap and I didn't know what was going on, and I got that lined out and I started putting that work in and I started putting the fuel in correctly and I started putting that in every day. And the changes that took place.
The sacrifices that I made in order to make this happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't give me excuses.
So don't tell me you can't do it.
That's right.
And don't tell me you don't have delayed gratification, because today we're going to learn that.
That's right.
You know, this isn't going to happen tomorrow. This is going to happen next week.
Again,
the 100-day rule, right? You know, you do it today, you do it this week, you don't see anything. You give it 100 days, and there will be change there.
And if after that
can't
point,
repute.
That goes back to, like, I ask kids all the time, like, hey, can you jump to the moon? What do they instinctively say?
No,
I can't. How do you know? How do you know? Have you ever dedicated yourself to the idea of jumping to the moon?
My favorite one.
So much so.
Yeah.
That you can say confidently, I cannot jump to the moon. What you really want to say is, what you should say is, when someone says, can you jump to the moon? Say, I don't know. I've never tried. It sounds like a terrible idea. I'm not wasting my time to find out whether I can or not, right?
Well, yeah.
Or say, let's find out.
My favorite is when you tell people, so tomorrow I need you to be at my house at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're going to be there.
Yeah, that's a good
right?
one.
And what do they always say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be there. You'll be there at my house at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going to be at my house at 8 a.m. tomorrow?
Do you know where I live?
No, you won't be. My favorite's when you go, no, you won't.
No, you won't.
And they go, what? Yes, I will. No, you won't. If I said be at my house at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and I'll sign you to a contract to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Okay? Will you be there? No, you won't be. Why? You don't know where I live.
So what we're saying is, we know what we want, but we don't always know how to get there.
That's right. It's exactly right. And that's what people do all the time.
It's the steps in between that everybody wants to jump over.
That's right.
And the internet screwed that up. Social media screwed that up. I mean, we can blame a lot of stuff because time lapse of what a year and a half, 2 years ago looked like to today can happen in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And people are like, damn, I can go do that tomorrow and I can be driving sports cars, and you know, they don't know.
But the reality is people don't put the real shit out there.
They don't.
Which is why after the surgery, right? Yeah. I'm fat as all get out, right? I posted what video?
Yeah.
me in a neck collar, right? Fat, trying to go walk up a hill.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm back in it.
And I'm like, hey, this is my struggle today.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to know, like, look, it doesn't matter what your struggle is, go overcome it.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
Like, mine is a hill right now. I'm so fat and out of shape. I haven't been able to move for 9 months now, right? That I'm going to go try to walk up this hill. This hill is my nightmare today.
Yeah. This is my obstacle.
And we're going to go face it. We're going to go address it, right? And I put this video out, and what made me more mad than anything else was everybody's like, "Oh, are you okay, honey?" Yeah, I'm fine. I don't need your pity, which is why I didn't tell anybody anything. Right? I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. I want you to understand that, look, I can't bend over and pick this up off the floor right now. Why? Because I got a lot of shit going on. Right? I can't wash my hair right now.
But I also want you to know that, like, there may be people out there have a story that's worse than mine.
Yeah, right.
They're dealing with adversity that's worse than mine.
There are people.
But there are a lot of people bitching right now that aren't dealing with what I'm dealing with. And look what I'm able to still do. So what's your excuse?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Excuse. Excuses are awful.
They're
just a way for you to get out of doing what's necessary to get where you're bitching about everybody else being, because they did the work and you didn't.
That's exactly right. You've given yourself an out.
Yes.
Right? And so, like, my next thing I'll say to those guys is I'll go, okay, be at my house by 8 a.m. No. Okay, you won't be there. You don't know where I live. Okay. So then I say, I'll tell you where I live. And I'll give them my address. I'll say, now will you be at my house by 8 a.m.? And they'll be like, yeah, I'll be there now. I know where it's at. No, you won't. And they'll be like, what? And it's like, here's the deal. How do you get from point A to point B? You got to know where point A is. Is point A in China? Okay. Now do I have the amount of time to get from point A to point B that I need in order to be there by 8 a.m.? And if your means to get there is a rowboat, you're not going to get to my house by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you've got a rocket ship in your backyard and you're in China, you can get there.
It's a monster analogy.
Yeah.
And some people are like, that's just so erroneous. It isn't, though.
But it's the truth.
It's the truth. I can apply that to so many different things in your life. People want more than they're willing to do.
Everybody wants it.
Everybody wants. Right? Nobody does.
That's right.
And that's the difference between, obviously, doers and not doers. The people that are willing to succeed in life and obtain the things that they want is because they went out and they did.
They took the risk.
They took the risk.
They bet on themselves.
They were doers. Right? And they failed and they learned and they did it again. And they failed and they learned and they did it again. And you take 10 shots and you miss 9 times, and that 10th one you hit it, everybody only knows about the 10th one.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't know about the other 9.
But in reality, okay, look back at sports historically. How many people are defined in their career as a professional athlete by their success?
I don't know statistically how many.
far fewer than are
probably
defined by their
played.
failure.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Right?
Jordan's a prime example.
Right?
You know, he talks about how many shots he's taken.
And people define him by his success.
But they define him by the ones that he made.
That's right.
But he's like, you guys, I took 4 times as many shots.
Yep. And what was the key to him
made.
being defined by that success? He kept trying.
He just kept trying.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time he failed, what did he do?
He adjusted and put more time in and worked a little harder, and he learned.
He got
Same
better.
thing with Kobe. We've talked about that.
Right.
I mean, this is basketball to baseball, and I'm sure you can compare this to the greats in baseball. The guys
It's
that
the
put
same
that
thing.
time in. You know,
It's the same.
when everybody else is coming at 6 and they're leaving by 3, and this guy's already got 2 practices in, and when you leave at 3, he's coming back for his 3rd.
Yep.
There's a reason that guy is so much better than
That's
you.
right.
He's
That's right.
dedicating way more time
That's
to
right.
this and learning this than you are.
Yep.
So don't bitch when he's out there doing really, really good.
Yeah, because you
and
don't have the discipline to
wanna
do it.
because you don't have the discipline he's
Right?
got.
And like,
you know?
like again, it goes back to I still remember sitting on the deck at my house, you and I, and we were talking about. You're like, well, how does coaching baseball translate to coaching and other things? And I said, well, it's the same. Coaching is coaching. Period. Bottom line.
Yeah,
right.
it is.
Like having the ability to sit down and look at somebody and be like, this is fucking wrong.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do different. That's not an easy thing to do. Most people don't have it.
Yeah.
Right. But doing it in a way that's genuine, like, look, this isn't for me. I'm not the one that has to go fight your fight. You have to fight it yourself. Is it possible? Yep. But you got to try.
So I've understood something for a very long time that I did not know how to put into words. And I seen it the other day, and I sent it to somebody and said, this guy nailed it. He nailed it more than I could possibly had put into words. And he said that coaching or teaching people in general, you need to be a bit of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm not the best at finance, but the guy who is best at finance finds that the problem and everything is a financial problem. I'm not the greatest in sales, but the guy who is really good in sales thinks that the fix for everything within that business is sales.
Sell
right?
more.
Now, if I'm a jack of all trades and I can understand on a macro level what is just inherently wrong and target that one thing, it may not be me that specifically fixes it, but now I know who I need to bring in and fix that.
That's exactly right.
But I need to look, but a guy who's just good at this, is just good at this, he only sees that one thing. It's always the problem.
Yep.
That one thing is always the problem.
Well,
you have to be able to know a little bit about everything and stand back and go, I feel like that's the problem right there. So let me go find the best guy for that. I'll bring him in and we're going to get it fixed.
And if I put, like, for a baseball analogy on that, right? If I say, well, our shortstop got hurt. Okay. We got to put somebody there. And I put a catcher in at the shortstop position, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like real trouble, right? Vice versa, right? Catcher goes down. And I put the pitcher in as a catcher, we're in trouble, right? Or the first baseman in as a third baseman, probably okay there, right? But if I put the first baseman in center field, we got a problem, right? And so you got to know the right person for the right role and it goes back.
But you have to look at the whole picture and be able to understand
exactly
it.
Right.
Every little bit, a little bit. I'm not the guy playing that position stellar like him, but I understand how that position should be played. I understand it's a problem and I can fix it. I can bring in whoever I need to fix it, but I can fix that. But Trev, it's been awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I think we'll be here like all day talking. Yeah. So I just want to wrap it up, guys. Griffin Baseball, Washington, Missouri.
Yep.
Roster's really filling up, but there definitely is a waiting list. One of the best guys for sure in the business for training. And if you guys are thinking about getting into baseball, are into baseball, and you want to be with the best, this guy right here is the best.
I meant forever when I said forever. 'Cause life's just built better together.